On today's video, I'm going to be doing a 1/2-inch cordless impact driver by Dewalt. Now, in the previous video, if you haven't seen that, I'm going to go ahead and cut in to this video a little bit about the reasons why I like certain features such as the voltage, the torque rating, the balance of it. So you don't have to go back and watch that video. I'll go ahead and cut that in now. So what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about cordless impact drivers. You've got 1/4 inch, 3/8 inch, and 1/2 inch. Some people are like, well, why are you doing, talking about cordless drivers? Because number one, they're extremely popular. They've come down in price a whole lot so that most people can now add them to their toolbox. And the reason that I think you should probably go ahead and put one in your toolbox like I've done in mine is because the old standby, which was the pneumatic or air operated guns, are great. Generally they're a lot cheaper than a comparable electric one, but there's a lot of people that they don't have a room or a place to put a compressor. Maybe you're four-wheeling, you're out on the trail, you go to the motorcycle track, whatever, and most people don't have the means to carry around a compressor with them, so a cordless driver makes a lot of sense. Now, people say, well, how do I know which one to buy? Okay, there's tons and tons of brands out there. I've used Milwaukee, I've used Ryobi, Makita, Bosch, Dewalt, and to be honest right now, 2014, most of these are made in China. Some of them are made in Japan. Most of them, the batteries are made in one place, the driver's made in another place, the charger's made in another place, the case is made in another place. So I think that pretty much the field is level as far as the quality goes. And I can't tell you which quality to buy, but I'm going to give you a couple points, a couple things to look for when you're out shopping for an impact driver. Number one, the first thing I look at is how much power does it have, and this is usually explained in volts. You see the driver's 12 volts, or it's 14.4 volts, or 18 volts, or 20, 24. Generally speaking, not always 100%, but generally speaking, the higher the voltage rating on the driver, the longer it's going to last, and the more torque it can have. Okay, that's not a hard, fast rule, but generally a 20 volt driver is going to have a lot more power than, say, a 12 volt. All right, the second thing that I look for is torque rating. Now be careful with this when you're shopping around. Sometimes they will advertise this in inch pounds, or really it's foot pounds is what most people talk about, pounds feet. It's the same thing, but we'll say foot pounds. So make sure that if it says that this will do up to 1,200 foot pounds, and you're like, wow, that's a lot of torque, but you have to divide that by 12 to get, or 1,200 inch pounds, you have to divide that by 12 to get foot pounds. So just make sure that you compare one or the other to another driver that you're looking at. The other thing is, which is very important, is generally speaking, since you're going to be using it a lot, you want it to be fairly lightweight, you want it to be balanced. Now with that being said, most people buy tools now online. Whether you go to Amazon or Snap-on or Mac or some of these tons of other places that sell tools, you can't put that tool in your hand, which is another good reason to have a tool review. Now keep in mind, a lot of this is subjective. What I'm telling you, it's just how it feels with you operating it. But I just wanted to give you these points to consider and to think about when you're out shopping for a tool. Okay guys, so you've kind of seen my criteria for what I look for when I'm looking for a cordless impact driver. Now, I'm going to go ahead and show you the impact driver that we're going to be using today and go ahead and give you some of my feedback on that driver.
Alright guys, this is the tool that we're going to be reviewing today. This is the Dewalt 20 volt max lithium ion. This is a 1/2 inch impact driver. The part number, if you care about that, is DCF889HM2. Alright, it comes with the driver, it's got 2 batteries, and it's got the charger that goes with it. Alright, let me show you what we're working with here. Obviously, this is the tool that we've got. Now, let me give you a few specs on this tool. Again, it's 20 volts. It's their Max series, just like the 3/8 driver that we previewed on the previous video. Uses the same battery. It's got this handy little charge indicator on the back. Again, it's about 2/3 full, standard. You've got another spare battery, so you've got 2 total batteries. You've got the Dewalt charger, and you've got this nice carrying bag. So the specs on this guy, as you can see, it's fairly large. This is not something that you want to be using to work under the hood of a car. This is the kind of tool that you want to be taking lug nuts off, taking suspension components apart. If you're doing any heavy dismantling or anything like that, this is the guy that you need. Now this tool right here, 300 foot-pounds of torque. So you're asking, will it take rusted lug nuts off? Yes, it will. It uses the same socket retention. It's the hog ring anvil. Okay, remember we talked about that if you saw the other video. You've got hog ring and you've got the ball detent. This is a standard, and it's very easy. You take the battery and it just slides in like that. Same setup, you've got your forward and reverse. It's got an LED light right there to illuminate the work, and if you put it in the middle position, it locks the trigger, so you're not going to accidentally engage this. Now, as far as weight, this is twice the weight of the 3/8 driver. This is heavy, okay? As far as balance, it feels a little bit back heavy, if that makes any sense. Obviously, this is the meat and potatoes of this unit, and this is the heaviest part. So the battery doesn't really weigh that much, and I can see how they've tried to kind of get it in the center line. But if it was me, I would have maybe put this assembly forward just a little bit. It's this thing is well over 6 pounds. It's like I think 6. Let's see, 6 3/4 pounds. So it is pretty much twice as heavy as the 3/8. Great for lug nuts, like I said. If you're taking subframes apart, if you've got you're working on heavy equipment, you're taking apart. So you're taking apart engines, and you want to remove head bolts and things like that. This is the tool that you need. Now, as far as comparing this to let's say a pneumatic, okay, if you had the choice of both of them, a pneumatic 1/2-inch driver is going to be lighter than this, and in some cases, it's going to be more powerful. So, but 300 foot-pounds is respectable. I know there are others out there that have more torque rating, but for the average do-it-yourself that likes to work on stuff, does your own car work, this is great. If you're a four-wheeler, you can take this on the trail with you and easily remove lug nuts. And we're going to show you how well this removes lug nuts in just a minute. But I think overall, for the money, this is it's a good driver. I would definitely, I'm pleased with it. As I said before in my other video, this right here is not the workhorse driver that I'm going to be using all the time, because most of what a person's doing is a lot of under hood work, and this is just too big for that. You don't need this kind of power. But if you're taking an engine or transmission out, this would have its place. This is it's a little more than 2 times the torque rating of the 3/8. So each one has its place. This guy right here definitely is going to be able to take those rusted lug nuts off pretty much whatever you can find on it. So I'm going to go ahead and set the camera up, and we're going to go ahead and see how fast this will take a lug nut off. All right, well, here we are with the test wheel, and let me make sure this is set to loosen. I'm going to go ahead and put my 17mm socket on here. And let's see how fast this takes lug nuts off. Well, that was easy. I gotta say that it takes them off quite a bit quicker than the 3/8 drive, obviously. Nothing weird there. We'll just do one more. Yeah. This thing is amazing how powerful it is. 300 foot-pounds of torque is no slouch. So put it back on. So if you don't have one of these in your toolbox, I highly recommend that you go ahead and add one. You can always find a use for this bad boy right here, from lug nuts to anything heavy. If you're doing engine work, like I said before, I think this would be a great addition to your tool collection. So if you guys have any questions, any comments, if you have any other ideas for different tool reviews you may like to see, just leave me a comment in the section below, and everybody have a safe day.